This is my dragon scale scarf, and this has 5 scales on. You can make it as long as you like, and I made it on the Addi Kingsize. What we do is we cast on 3 stitches, and then we increase every other row so that it just grows on one side. So it's short row shaping basically. And then we get to here, which we have 40 needles in work across this width here, and we actively crochet cast off 10 stitches, and then we continue increasing every other row until we have 5 empty needles out of work, which then we cast off another 10 at the beginning to make another scale, and we continue this way until you have as many scales as you like. When you get to your last scale, you crochet cast off the entire needle selection, so it cast off all 40 stitches. You might have 41 sometimes, but that's okay. So you cast them all off, and that's your dragon scale scarf. I'll show you how to make it. Okay, so let's get started. I'm using a thinner acrylic for this demonstration of how we do this pattern, but that's okay, we'll just get on with it. Right, we'll leave a long tail and we cast on 3 stitches, under, around, under. Now we just go under that loop, so it's like that, and we come back. You can actually put that in the feeder. And that doesn't actually count as a row. That is just our cast on row. So now this counts as row 1. So from row 1 we immediately increase. So we increase by 1. So now we've got 4 needles in work, and that's gonna split on me too, I think. We don't want our yarn splitting, so I'll do that again. Nah. Alright, now we've got it. Don't increase on the right at our beginning. That's where we'll have our first crochet cast off. And we increase again by 1 stitch. And so we have 5 needles in work. Needles in work. I forgot to mention too, you want to keep your needle selector lever in circular, although you're doing flat panels, but you don't want to have it stop at the black needle, at the black needles. So increase again. Don't let it split. Excuse me. And we increase and continue around this way until we get all the way around to 40 needles in work. Okay, this is the second to last increase because that was needle number 39. And now we've just about to increase to needle 40. So this is needle 40 here now. Right, once we've increased, this is the point that we would have been skipping ahead to, because at the beginning here we're going to do an active crochet cast off. Now what I mean by that is that we're going to take the yarn out of the feeder and get a latch hook tool. This is a rug making latch hook. It's just a bit bigger, and we are going to crochet cast off 10 stitches. So we take the yarn feeder out and let it drop to the first click. We just take that one ready for the second stitch. So we go under the fin next to it, around the back of the fin to the first click, and pick up that stitch. Sometimes it's a little harder than it seems, and you pull the yarn through both loops. So you have one loop again, click, under the fin at the front, back of the fin at around the back of the fin, pick up your loop and cast off through both loops. Now you wanted to keep it going around these gate pegs or fins or whatever you want to call them on the Addi. It keeps it even. Once you get the hang of crochet casting, live crochet casting off, you can actually just do a loop over the top, like well, you want to get this up. Sometimes if you've got yarn that splits, it's not that great, but you can crochet as long as you keep the main yarn behind the fin here. You can have the other yarn on the top of it, but you've got to keep it uniform. That way you get the spacing right and it doesn't bunch up. But if you're looking for a really tight crochet cast off, then go ahead and just crochet cast off all on the inside of the needles. So we've got 1, 2, 3. This is our fourth stitch casting off. Under the front, behind the back, This is our 5th stitch. You see how easy that it splits. Seven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven. 8. 9. Actually, that's 10 because we cast it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10. So now what we do here is we put this loop on as a double stitch. So that loop goes all the way down to where these loops sit on this side. So all the way down there. And we want to bring it back a little bit. Just so that's the crochet loop added to make a double stitch. Under the fin with the yarn, under the hook as the normal, into the yarn feeder, and you can go start. This becomes needle number 1. So you take all of this off, and there's your first scale. That is your first dragon scale. So this is number 1. Now we keep increasing it around until we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 needles out of work. So we increase until our yarn stitches are all the way back around to number 5 in this case, which is the first round. So it makes it a little bit easier. So round, increase 1 stitch, that's in needle 41. There we go. And that stitch becomes 1. So we go, keep going around, increase, always increase on the left of your work, until we get to the last scale. And then we crochet, cast off the entire working needles. And it's okay if you lose count, because you don't really have to remember how many rows you've done, how many needles you've got in, because once you get that first set of 40 needles in work and you cast off the 10, all you have to remember is you keep increasing until you have a 5 needle gap. So you keep going until there's 5 needles between the beginning and the end. And there, it's at number 5, like I said at the beginning, and we have 5 empty needles. So I've just done this increase. We'll get back to the start. It's time to crochet cast off 10. So take the yarn feeder out, let that last stitch knit under, and you come back with your latch hook tool, click under the first click. Now this is 1. Now we're going to get a click, we still want that, we still want to use the gate pegs if we can start it off right. That gives us the same tension evenly across. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this, if you've done it the same as I have, you'll be on number 20. You've just cast off 20 peg, the 20th peg. So you put the main yarn behind the loop, put the last loop over the next needle, under that fin, pull it tight a little, bring this back over, and you want the loop the crochet loop to be sitting down for a double knit. So you want to bring that back up a little bit just so you can get it. Put the yarn under the hook, back into the feeder, and you're ready for the next row. So you just take these off. That's enough. That's your second scale done. And you keep going as long as you want, for as long as you want the length of your dragon scale scarf. So there, now we have 2 dragon scales. And we keep going. This now becomes number 1. And increase. And that's basically it. You just keep going around, increasing on the left by 1 stitch, continuing till you've got 5 empty needles, crochet cast off 10 stitches, and then keep going until your last crochet cast off, which of course you crochet cast off the entire needles to give you the tapered edge on the finishing edge. You don't want to use your needle and do the weaving cast off because like you would for a beanie, because you don't want it to pull up tight on the end there, because it's supposed to be excuse me, a scarf, so, or a cowl. Mine's a cowl. The green one that I first made is a cowl. It's too short for a scarf, but yeah, I could keep going until it's long enough. So I'll keep going on this and making as many scales as this yarn will let me before I need to cast off, and I'll come back to the end and show you the last scale and casting off. See you in a second. Okay, so your dragon scale scarf is as long as you want it, and you're down to your last increase. You still do the increase even though you're going to crochet cast off. So that was my last increase. instead of crochet casting off just the 10 stitches, you're going to crochet cast off the entire 40. So we take the weight out of there and we just go around and cast off. Don't even have to count because we're going to take them all off. This is the longest part of making anything on the machines, is the casting on and the casting off. They always take actually longer than what it takes to make the garment. Or the project, I should just call it whatever you're making. So this is into 12, I think, stitches, but we just keep going around all 40. If you have another a live crochet cast off method that you prefer that doesn't give the loopiness of this, but I'd like to see it, and if you could show me it, that'd be great, because I'm like a visual learner. I can follow instructions once I've got the hang of the technique, but if it's new, I like to see it. Just like you, I guess, because otherwise watching this video wouldn't be what you'd want to do. Okay. I have tried to make it tighter, but having it go around the gate peg like that gives it an even tension, and you want it to look the same, nice neat finish. You could scrap off with waste yarn and, you know, hand cast off afterwards, but that's a lot of fiddling, and I don't really have that much patience, which is why another reason why I don't hand knit. So I've only just recently learnt, but I can do it now. Before, when I first started crochet, I couldn't work out how to do the needle. I did it with my dad when I was younger, but he was there showing me what I needed to do and stuff like that. So knitting again, it just become too, I know, boring. Sorry for you knitters. I love knitting. I love knitted things. I personally am too impatient for that sort of thing. Which is why I find casting on and casting off the most boringest part of making anything. Which isn't really. I shouldn't say that, should I? But maybe I'll edit that bit out. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the crochet cast off. You wonder what to do with the last stitch. You just continue as if you let it pick up and drop off just like the other stitches. And you just do one more following loop and pull it through. And that is the end of your dragon scale scarf. It looks better when you've got a bigger ply wool too, because this was just the one I could find that was bright enough for you to see it. But there we go. All you need to do now is block it. You have a nice scarf. Tidy up the ends. And that's it. Is our first scale, and then our second. So I've got a few in there. And because this yarn's acrylic, I'm going to steam block it and kill it. They call it killing it, so that it sits flat and it has a nice drape, and you leave some of the curl on the scales because it just gives it a new look. Alright, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed.